Welcome back to another episode of I Don't Know. If you watched the first one, that's great. If you didn't, I hate you. But you're back here now for episode 2. We got a really cool and fun guest and a really awesome show, so I look forward to getting it started. Stay tuned. Here we go. Broadcasting, if I pronounced that correctly. He's a play-by-play broadcaster, a radio host, a 90.7 FM The Lion legend, the GOAT of Are You Hungry delivery drivers, my former ride to class, and a good friend, the Katt man, Christian Katt. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm glad you mentioned that last one because, I'm more proud of that than the other two. I'll be honest.
The delivery driver?
Yes, 100%, yes.
You brought a lot of pride to that establishment, I think.
Yes. Are we allowed to curse in this program? Yes or no?
Yeah, go nuts. I don't think sure.
All right, cool. Yeah. All right. So you're delivering fat bitches, fat blunts, all that, and it's a new joke every time, and it's worn down in my mind that I don't consider them curse words whatsoever when I deliver these sandwiches from like the establishment there, and it was just a good part of my life.
I mean, it's like the name of the sandwich. So like at that point, is it even a curse in that sense of the word?
It's like saying Schitt's Creek, right?
Right.
It's funny because I actually talked about it on the radio today, and you can't say Schitt's Creek on the radio because you can't give the appropriate context that you would on TV if you were to have like quotation marks there. So you had to bleep it out. Yeah.
But you can't even say like, I really enjoy the show Schitt's Creek.
I don't think. Well, we used this program where we did a montage of all the big winners, all the stuff that people cared about. Mm-hmm. And I played it, and it was bleeped out on there. So maybe they were worried of parents with kids in the car that turn it on. I don't know.
Yeah, it's a bunch of FCC rules. It flashed me back to what was it? Communications law. Did you take that class?
Probably did. Yeah. Communications law. It was ethics and there was law. There was both of them.
Right. I remember
were rough.
The law was like 1 day a week, but like 3 hours.
Yes. Yeah. Yes, exactly. I remember exactly what you're talking about.
It would dove into all those different, like what you can and can't say. Talked about like the bagel rule in the NCAA. That was interesting.
That's right, with the cream cheese, of course. Yeah. One of them, I was in a class with former Penn State superstar Juwan Johnson, right? And he was my partner because Johnson and Katt came next to each other in the roster of the class. Turns out he went to your neck of the woods in Oregon before we presented. So I did it by myself.
I think I was in that class. I feel like I remember Juwan Johnson being in the big group chat. Maybe not though. Maybe I'm thinking of something else.
Was Tommy Stevens in it too?
No.
Okay, because those two in the lineman in the top right corner of the class, and I was like, okay, he's not there anymore because both transferred in the same 2 weeks of one another. So the conversations had in that desk, they changed history.
Yeah. I just remember there was definitely some like big name football players in the class, but there was a huge cheating scandal. So I feel like you would have remembered if we were in the same class.
No, there was not. I could never partake. I could never.
Oh no,
I couldn't sit next to that.
I did not, but we were in a big group chat with like 200 people in the class. And the professor decided to save paper. So the next exam will be, you can bring your laptops. You can just do it online. And in the group chat, a bunch of, just real bad people.
Neanderthals.
Just scoundrels. Yeah. They were talking about how they're going to cheat and they're just going to pull this up and we should all text each other the answers. And when we came into class that day for the test, he started with a slideshow of screenshots of the group chat. So there was a narc somewhere.
Oh, no.
Yeah, it was very intense. And all of a sudden, it was a 200-person group chat. You just see, like, left the group chat.
Oh, that's just incredible. That's like something you see on, like, Blue Mountain State or something like that. That's, like, terrifying. All right, so who would you rather be, the person who's, I guess the name of the screenshot, they were just exposed in the middle of the class, the professor saw it's embarrassing, or if it's found out that you're the one that narked? I couldn't pick.
Yeah, I mean, luckily I was in the group chat. I never was plotting any cheating. I was like, this is kind of stupid, but like your life, what am I gonna do?
Right.
So I was never afraid of anything, but everyone was like, oh, we're all gonna get like, failures in the class and they're gonna report us, and everyone was freaking out. And I was like, you're stupid for talking about cheating in a 200-person group chat.
Oh yeah, that's too many people. You gotta cap it out like 20.
Yeah, it's too many.
20.
Well, moving on from college, which we both have done, we have moved physically to far places. So you are in Oklahoma, correct?
Yeah, about an hour and a half northwest of Oklahoma.
Okay.
Oklahoma City. Sorry, in Oklahoma.
Still in the state.
Yeah, still in Oklahoma. Yeah, I'm here right now.
So tell me, and I know you went to Florida for a couple months in the summer. So what is right?
I was a wandering soul. Yeah. So basically, I went back to Penn State because I was like, what else am I going to do? Am I going to sit at home and do these classes? I went back after spring break. And my girlfriend was going there too because she didn't want to stay in Florida for it either. Both went back there. We pretty much lived together in her her college apartment. Lived out the rest of the semester. Graduated from there. I was working at the delivery spot, so you can make money. It's pretty sweet. People tip you really well when they think you're risking your life. So that was pretty sweet. So after then, it was just me applying to jobs, not getting anything. Eventually, go back home because I graduated, whatever, need to take the next step. I was at home for about a week and a half before I got a unpaid internship at a South Florida Collegiate Baseball League. Was like, yeah, better than anything I have right now. I'm getting unemployment's pretty sweet, but I can still get that while I'm doing baseball. Go down to Florida for the summer. Did that for the season, about now a month and a half, and then it was over. And I was like, well, what am I gonna do now? So then my girlfriend actually got into a grad program at Tulane in New Orleans, and she was kind enough to be like, hey, you're not doing anything, right? No, I'm not doing anything. I'm in the same spot I was for the week and a half sitting at home. Come to New Orleans with me. I like going to different American cities, so I spent a month and a half in New Orleans. Kind of took in the bare bones of like Bourbon Street because it was all closed up. So it was really bad. It was awful.
Yeah, it's like the worst time to go to New Orleans, honestly.
Exactly. They didn't have Mardi Gras this year still, but yeah, it was pretty rough there. But we spent time with her, of course. Got to try the new food, all that stuff. And while I'm doing there, my full-time job is applying to jobs, waking up 9 a.m., seeing what like new listing dropped, and like I'm literally going like you were nationwide, like just like, hey, if you'll take me, if you'll hire me, I'm gonna up and move. Got this job there, literally applied to it and got heard back in the next 3 hours. Wow. And got hired the next morning. I was like, all right. They had this guy that was supposed to take the job, fell through, got homesick 2 days in. So they need someone that like week. So I drove from New Orleans to Oklahoma the following day. So I heard about the job and started working at the job 3 days apart. And I was like, okay,
so I'm here now. How far was the drive?
It was 14 hours. 14 hours. You go like up through all of Louisiana, cut across kind of the southeast corner of Texas, up through Dallas, and then straight up from there to Oklahoma City, then to where I'm at.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah, I felt like a movie. My life was a movie, Noah. Like that's I feel like I was going to like gas stations, and my car I had car trouble. I don't know anything. I don't know jack about vehicles or mechanic, like any of that stuff. And I had like a check your engine, or it was like an oil light or whatever. And I pulled over. I'm like sweating. I'm like wipe my forehead. It's still hot. And I'm just stressing out there at this Texas gas station where I look like a pansy. I look like a yuppie up in New York. They see the New York plates on my car too.
Oh my God.
So, but like I just kind of poured new oil in. I didn't know what to do. I eventually got there, and I was looking up on my phone, like just texting and driving, not great. Diners and drive-ins and dives, like Dallas locations. That was my pit stop. My dinner stop was anywhere Guy Fieri went. Got some barbecue, and then I got to Oklahoma at like 12 p.m. Got to the hotel I was staying at, and I started at the job the following morning at 6 a.m.
Wow.
So it was like wild. Like I was dead. And then it was like a 6 a.m. because this guy had to put in all of the job's responsibilities, all the trainings in one day of training. So I got there at 6 a.m., did the show live with him just to like see what he did, the morning country radio show. And then we had a football game because it was a Friday night in the fall, a football game that night at 7 p.m. So I eventually got back to my hotel room at like 10:45 p.m. and then I clocked out. I just slept the rest of the day all throughout. Like I woke up at like noon the next day on a college football Saturday, and I just was just dead in a hotel room.
I don't blame you. That's insane. That's takes diving right into like another level.
Exactly. I mean, like I had no choice though, right? And I was like kind of excited about it. It was something different, but yeah, it was pretty sweet.
I mean, yeah, I mean something new, and you just obviously knew you wanted it, so you just grabbed it when it came. That's great.
So I know you're probably recording a bunch of podcasts and you're going to release them periodically, right? Because I know you're doing this for. I haven't seen you release any of the other ones before this, right? Because
I just released my first one a couple days ago.
Okay, I must have missed it. But yeah, I was going to ask. So then, what's your story? Like, how'd you get to like Bend, Oregon, right?
Oh, you're asking me the questions. How
exactly,
turning the tables?
Yeah. Exactly. Because if I know all I know is that you went there. I know how it works, how it went on. You recorded that video. How long did it take to make your faux like video commitment? How did that go?
Yeah, so I was in like the same boat as you, where the full-time job was applying every day. Actually, very similar. I started delivering for DoorDash, so I was also doing the food delivery.
Actually, no, you're our competition. Was my competition, but I mean, still with me.
We've moved on to bigger and better things, but
right.
But I was doing that to make money, and then literally just getting up, LinkedIn, job sites, applying, checking emails. Had probably applied to over 100, 150 places. Had a good amount of interviews. Some didn't go anywhere. Some went as far as like the final round. And like one, I even had something go on in the state college area that didn't work out. Would have been nice. Didn't end up panning out exactly like I wanted to. So everything just kept applying all throughout the summer. And I had a friend actually from Penn State get a job here at the station in Bend around July. And he told me they were hiring and I should reach out and apply for the reporter job. So I did. Didn't hear back at all, like nothing. Come to October, like, 3-4 months later, random email from like the news director. Hey, we saw your application. We'd love for an interview. So do the interview. It goes well. Next couple days, I get an offer. This is the first full offer I'd had since graduation. I think it over, think it a lot. It's super far. I kind of weigh my options.
Right, yeah.
I accept. The day after I accept, I get, or the week after I accept, I have 3 to 5 other stations call me and like reach out about positions. It's like they knew, like a switch went off in their heads, like he's going somewhere else, so now we should ask him.
Oh my god! So you pretty much that it would have been nice to have all those options on the table, but Bend, Oregon, I don't know anything about it. I don't know if I'm expected to. Like, what's it like there?
So I didn't know a thing about it either, and that's kind of I had like a choice. I could have still decommitted, I guess, to the job and gone somewhere else, but it's really unique. It's kind of a lot like State College, I think. So it's Central Oregon, so it's the center of the state.
Okay.
And it's like a mountain town, but it's a huge tourist town. So like in the winter, people come to ski. And in the summer, people come just for like the landscape because it's beautiful. There's mountain ranges and rivers and people hike and climb and whatever. It's got that middle of the nowhere feel like State College does, but it's a little more popular and it's not just college kids. It's like a functioning city.
Oh, sweet. That's awesome.
It's pretty nice. I enjoyed it so far. I mean, same kind of thing as you in New Orleans. I haven't like really seen it because everything's been closed.
Right. Yeah.
So I've seen a shell of what it can be, but I'm told in the summer it's a lot of fun.
It's pretty funny. Like the town I'm in, Oklahoma, I think it was like every single count. We just got a mask mandate maybe 2 months ago for the first time. Yeah. I mean, I don't live with anyone elderly, no one asymptomatic. I'm kind of living on my own here, so I'm not really affected by that much, but it's kind of back to normal here. And then for 2 months, it wasn't because like outbreaks would happen, this and that. But it's a stark difference going from State College to New York. Florida was kind of like, the deal with Florida.
Yeah.
Then New Orleans was back to more in the city, still a southern city, but you're still in the city, and like Bourbon Street was closed. But taking the trek up here, it's hard pressed to find a mask mandated spot. It's like the one spot is the internet provider. For some reason, they're the one spot that's like, no, can't have it there, because like pretty much a mask mandate here means that you can get charged with trespassing if a business is like, nah, you can't come in here, you don't have a mask, and you're like, no, I want to be here, and then they can actually call the police on you. But you can do whatever you want elsewhere unless a business tells you, get off my property because you have a mask on.
Right. Yeah, I'm not sure if there's like an actual mask mandate. It's just like the mask and distance rules are pretty strictly enforced.
Mm-hmm.
It's very divisive here though. Like there's
Yeah, oh, yeah.
people I've
Oh,
noticed that if I do a story and I don't have my mask on, I'll get people telling like, "Where the heck's your mask?" Or
really?
if I do, people being like, "Oh, why are you wearing the mask? Like you don't need it." It's like very
Mhm.
divisive. So no matter, I feel like I'm always wrong.
Oh no, yeah, we're in the 98 to 2% where no one gives a flying F, and the 2% is like so can you wear masks there? Like people are like, or it's more of like they're nice about it, but they give you a side eye. Like they won't
Mm,
actually confront you to your face when you think you're being a pansy for wearing a mask. But like since I'm like with a radio station, we go to like business to business, promoting stuff like giving away a free this, a free that. So like we would wear a mask if we're inside a spot, and some places don't care, some places do. But yeah, it's pretty funny. How it's different wherever you go, literally wherever you go.
right. Every state, every city within a state is just kind of a different culture.
Right, right. Because you think like Oregon, you think okay, Portland, pretty far left leaning. But then you think okay, Central Oregon, kind of more in the countryside, right? Like how you describe Bend. So I see that divisive clash there.
Right. And Bend, it's interesting. Bend, the population of the city is increasing every year
Okay.
because it's becoming more of kind of a destination town. It's someone compared it not what's that place in Colorado or
Mm.
hmm,
Hmm.
I can't some ski town in Colorado like the whatever of Oregon. It's become like
Okay.
a summer home or ski town type of place where people like to go. I know they hate Californians here because it's all Californians. So all
Okay.
the locals who have been here their whole lives, there are all these more people are coming in, and a lot of them happen to be from California. Rent goes up, traffic increases, food prices go up, so they hate they hate the tourists. I have my
Yeah.
PA plates, so they're probably just more confused if anything when they see
Oh
me,
yeah.
like, why are you here? But
Hmm.
I've
Yeah.
noticed that.
Yeah, I think the bordering states of California really do hate Californians for that. Because, all right, so I went to Vegas once in my life for a week. I fell in love with Vegas. So I follow like this Vegas page, and they're just like, yeah, we hate Californians here at Vegas. And I drive because they always cause trouble on the weekends. But yeah, it's kind of a mutual thing that the bordering states of California don't like California. No matter what kind of California you are, like Northern LA,
I don't
like
think it
just
matters.
no, just do not like California whatsoever.
No. Well, let's shift back to you and to your
Yeah.
job out in Oklahoma. So what do you do on the day to day? What's your
That
tasks?
I'm glad you asked that because I was going to ask you the same thing. So yeah, day to day. All right. So it's they strip down. Radio's getting smaller and smaller, but the one thing that's surviving is small town radio because it gives you the localized coverage that a big TV station wouldn't give you. So I have a couple. I wear many hats, as you might say. So wake up and I do pretty much my morning show duties where I'm on a country radio station from 6 a.m. to noon. And all right, I can't publicize this, but you don't actually have to do it live. You can record it earlier. So
Oh.
sometimes, yeah, sometimes Catman in the morning is Catman at like 4 p.m. the day before, but that's just sometimes. So and then you can do it for, I do a 6 hour radio show where it's just like top favorite country hits. I kind of inherited the
Yeah.
station because, I mean, top country hits in Oklahoma, it's going to do well no matter who's behind the mic. So pretty much you just like it's Catman in the morning on 1071 KNID. How's it going, guys? It's pretty chilly out there. Make sure you wear a coat. Back to the country hits right here, right now. Like talk about that for a little, like maybe 6 times an hour, varying between six
Mhm.
and 4 times an hour. Do that
Are
radio
you a
show.
country fan? Sorry, not to interrupt. Are you a country
Yes.
music fan?
Yes, I was happy about that.
All right,
Yes,
that's
I
good. So
know.
it's
Yeah.
it's authentic when you're playing. It's not
Yeah.
you're playing songs you enjoy it, you like it. Good.
I know. It would have been pretty funny if I got we don't even have a real pop station, like a real pop station that has stuff that you hear about, like Dua Lipa, stuff like that. It would have been so fake. We're like, uh-oh, Dua Lipa coming up next, speaking out my ass. Like, I know what I'm saying right now. Like, try to talk about drama in music. But yeah, so yeah, got to do that. There was like a part choice. They kind of assumed, he's from the Northeast. He's 21 years old. Is he gonna want to do country music? I was like, yeah, definitely do. That's what the guy before me did, so I took it. So then that's my job from pretty much when I wake up for maybe the first 2.5 hours of the job, And then it's high school sports are so big here. They are so popular. There's so much money in them. So I got to decide what schools to cover for basketball, football, baseball season.
Hmm.
Because there's so many different high schools around the area within like a 40-minute the listening area of our stations. Because we both have like a variety station where it's like the 80s to now hits that way, country, rock, and true country, which is like bluegrass and that kind of country. So we have all those stations, and then a syndicated radio station that just does CBS Sports Radio.
Okay.
So pretty much we take all the schools that are having games this week and we decide, all right, what makes sense? Who can we cover? And I talk with sales and be like, all right, this Covington Douglas Lomega game on Friday night makes sense. We haven't covered them in a while. It's going to be a good game. It's boys and girls, doubleheader for basketball. Let's do that. And then they're like, all right, sounds good. They'll get the sponsors. And then I contact the schools, get the rosters, and I organize who's going to be in the studio doing the board operating. So I kind of just organize all the broadcasts that way to where the sponsors make a lot of money for the broadcast, pay for the company vehicles, gas, pay for me to do it. And it all works out that way. And also day-to-day stuff. I do a morning sports report. It's 1 minute each at 9 a.m. or 8 a.m., noon, and 5. I just did All Stars. So I like kind of got emails to all the coaches. They emailed me their votes for football season. Did that. It we normally do more events, but with COVID, just less events.
Right. And when you say you go and cover a game, do you like
Yeah.
go and like do play-by-play for the game?
Yeah.
Or you just kind of
Yeah.
in okay. So
Yeah.
full across
Yeah.
the board, like you are covering that game, broadcasting it live for whoever needs to hear.
Exactly. Publicize it on Facebook. Hey, we're live on 95.7 right now. Go there right now. We're broadcasting Lomega versus Covington Douglas. Girls at 6, guys at 8. And they love it. They love it so much. They'll call into the station, be like, hey, you're pronouncing my kid's name wrong. Like in the middle of the game. It's so intense. I love it. You kind of fall in love with it, how intense it gets, especially in basketball, where like in all basketball, you can hear the fans.
Oh yeah.
And the parents let it be known that they're unhappy. Because we're doing in the middle of playoffs right now. It is ballistic. It's insane. Because all the locations are centrally located. So everyone can make the drive. It's the most important games of the year. And a lot of them are 6 and 8 p.m. on days parents can make it there. Oh, it is brutal. It is ruthless. It's like I had a mom get kicked out like the other night. It's just hilarious. Like stormed past me. I didn't hear. I had the headset on. So
something she said something a little inappropriate.
Exactly. And then all of a sudden I can leave this shit show on my own. She storms past me. I'm like, okay.
Wow.
They had to call the superintendent down, make sure she was gone. She wasn't gone. She went to the concession stand and worked that for the second game. But it's fun. It's a lot of high school sports is really the thing.
I mean, and yeah, that sounds like such a different culture. I've always heard of, the Southern high school sports scene as being super passionate. And this is an example that it's true. It's not just a rumor or theory. It is. And
right. The culture you think of Texas, think of Oklahoma being the weirder stepchild of Texas with colder weather. That's pretty much how it is.
Just colder weather.
Yeah.
Yeah. Here, unfortunately, so the COVID restrictions have been very strict here. And there has not been high school sports the entire year until last week. They just started tryouts and practices for the fall sports. So like football, boys and girls soccer, volleyball, and cross country just started up. Okay. So I'm not even sure how big of a high school sports area this is, because I know people have been fighting to get their sports for a while, and that's been a hot button issue. Can we play or should we not play? But I'm not sure on a normal everyday how passionate the town is yet. I'm not sure.
Right, you'll probably see that once it'd be rough to see without attendance probably being allowed if they're just getting started now. Mm-hmm. I think once things back to normal, we'll get a better gauge on how people get into it.
Yeah, no, definitely. Well, that's good. So how do you like it? How do you enjoy being in this kind of Southern sports, high school sports world?
I like it a lot. I mean, it's pretty sweet having what you do like to do as your job, no matter how hard it can be. Because the hours right now in playoffs are absolutely ridiculous. Because they have games at 9:30 a.m. to 8:30 p.m. For this state tournament the next 2 weeks. So it's pretty crazy because the games are in Oklahoma City. an hour and a half down the road. So I'm going to be gone for the full day for the next like week. Like this is my Monday off. I had games on Thursday, Friday, Saturday. I had Sunday off. And then Monday I had like my daytime job, like with doing organizing what I'm doing for next week and doing the country radio show. And now it just pedal to the metal. Going to be running on fumes from Tuesday to Saturday when the championship games. And then we have day off, and then Monday off again from games, and then Tuesday to Saturday again. But I do love it. It's pretty awesome. The small compliments you get make it so worth it. So, because sometimes in like college media, you might know this, where you kind of hear like compliments and you feel like you're not really talking to anyone except for like your family or like your friends who kind of support you. Where it's like, oh, thank you for listening to my stuff. Thanks for watching my stuff. But like, you're
watching because like you know me and you just...
Yeah, exactly, and I appreciate it. But when you hear someone randomly say, "Hey, that was a cool broadcast. I listened to your stuff," it's like, "Oh, okay, that's pretty sweet." That kind of gets you through the rest of the week, honestly.
Kind of a rewarding aspect to hear someone you don't know go out of their way to be like, "Hey, I thought you did a good job on X." It's like,
oh yeah,
cool. I did do a good job. Maybe it makes it like.
Yeah, it makes you smile for the rest of the day. It's like, all right, cool. Now you know you're talking to Rita from Sioux Falls. Like now you know you're talking to that person on your next broadcast. So it's awesome.
What have you learned about yourself and about the sports industry in your few months in this job?
I've learned about myself. It's so cliche. It's so corny. It's so like that girly thing. I don't know how to be an adult. Like I really don't know. I don't know how to balance stuff at home. Where my apartment, my 1-bedroom apartment will become disgusting after a week, just because I don't know how to do it. My girlfriend's here now, so she's pretty much like acting like a mom. So she picks up that for me, doing stuff that I forgot that I'm supposed to be doing as a well-functioning adult. Like it just, but
it's harder than it seems. It
is harder than it seems. Yeah, and like you have the same kind of decor as I, where it's white walls and you kind of have the stuff that you kind of had from college. You throw up on the wall, but yeah, moving in here was so. I learned about myself is like I love dogs and like I want a dog. Living on my own, want a companion. Didn't want to be by myself here. Kind of was sad about that part, but I made a mistake. I got a puppy, literally a 2-month-old puppy. Having to balance like sports, puppy, and work, not possible. But we made it through it. She's like 8 months now, but she tore up my carpet and she keeps on tearing up my carpet. I try to trust her like over the weekend, like, all right, I'm not going to put you in the crate this weekend. So see what you can do. Totally betrayed it. Totally betrayed it. So if you're looking to get a dog out of college, like living on your own, maybe at 2 years old. Just a recommendation.
That's very funny that you say that because I'm not honestly in an eerily similar position as you because I want to get a dog, and I actually recently got a girlfriend who lives in Pittsburgh, so we're doing the long distance thing as well.
Mm-hmm.
And we want a dog, and I want one. I kind of want to get it to have a companion, right? Well,
yeah,
the girlfriend's all the way over there, but I'm pretty nervous to have that because I know how much attention a puppy requires when you're raising it, and I have, I'm working more than I ever have before in my life.
Absolutely, so, I could only imagine with TV is more because you got to be live more and all that kind of stuff. I could only imagine, yeah.
Right. So I want it so bad. There's nothing more. I'm excited. Like I'm out on my own. It'd be the perfect time. This is a huge dog town too. But that aspect, I don't want to do it unless I know I can give that puppy the attention it deserves,
Right. Yeah. I would definitely recommend just filter a lot of searches, get to know one that was fostered already. Puppy is it's rough having just one person raising a puppy. So just advice I would recommend if I were to go back in time, maybe a 1-year-old, 2-year-old, maybe not 2 months. But you asked about sports too. I didn't forget the second half of your question. Learn about the sports industry. It's cutthroat, but people are willing to help. There are a lot of people in this business that do it as a hobby. And if you are able to snag a job that's full-time doing sports, hold on for dear life because it's hard to find another. It really is. Almost everyone else you'll encounter is someone that does it on the side, does it just because they want to. If you're able to get paid full-time to do that, even though you might have a side thing, because unless you are professional, ESPN, CBS, all that kind of stuff, you're going to have to do something else on top of that. with the same company. If you can
Right.
get someone a title sports director, grab onto it and climb within there and really hold on for dear life. That's really what I learned starting off as a 21-year-old out of college.
I mean, yeah, that's great advice. And I'm even kind of going an alternative route. I'm not even in sports technically right now. I'm in the news side of things. So I'm going the TV route, which is, I mean, I think similar in its dauntingness and its kind of in its cold way about it, but it's a different world.
I know you're trying to interview me, but I do want to know, like, what do you do day to day? Like, for your multimedia journalist, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So basically, just walk you through a day. We'll go in
Yeah.
9:30. We'll have our Zoom meeting. Normally, I guess would be in person, but it's only been on Zoom for me. And we just like pitch stories. So any story ideas you have, you saw something on Facebook, you heard something, you got a press release, whatever. We all pitch stories. News director kind of filters through them, either approves it, disapproves it, or assigns something. And then you go out and you get your stories. You call your sources. You got to bother them until they come and talk to you. You talk to them, you get your B-roll, you put your package together, and you get it all on the air by 4 o'clock. And then if it's important enough, you go live for the 4, 5, and 6. But we don't go live for everything just because not everything needs to go live.
Right.
It doesn't really
Yeah.
make sense to go live for some stories, but other ones it does. And it's a grind because sometimes it's, you have it nice where you call someone at 10 o'clock and you have your interviews at 10:30 and you got everything shot by noon. Some days you don't even have a story till 1 p.m.
Oh, okay.
But no matter what, you have to have something on the air at 4. So it is a grind. And then it's a race and like your blood pressure is like rising and you feel that you're sweating.
Oh my God.
I've had so many days where it's like 3:55 and I'm like trying to edit and get everything in there. It's intense.
Oh my gosh. Because my only experience with, like, is it like Premiere still, like Adobe Premiere, or is it
We
some
use
other
Premiere,
editing?
yeah.
It's my only experience was like collegiate TV news, and it took me so long to get stuff done on that, where I waited to the end to do like whatever that I forget. Um, we were in the same class for that one too, where you can submit either your partners or yours to
Right.
get
For
graded in the moment.
465, yeah.
But at the end, you had to have all of your stuff done. I was kind of like, you know what? I think yours is better. Never had mine done. Literally never had mine done except for the first live shot. So I had to do it all at the end for that final website that I still use. And I was there for, I think, combined like 18 hours, literally 18 hours in a span of 2 days, because I was so bad at it because I didn't do it the entire semester. But I can only imagine a day. I guess it kind of refines your skills in it to where it's not as hard, because that's how I am with audition now too.
Right.
Like with like audio stuff, now it's second nature for me, where I have to put together 1-minute sports reports 3 times a day in 10 minutes or less. So I just kind of just do it. And that's probably with you, just a different scale with video. But you have to have something every single day.
Every single day, you got to have a story. And yeah, I mean, it's the same thing, like you said, like it's weird in school because you do for your news classes or your TV production classes, like 3 to 5 stories like a semester. And now you're doing a story every day. So I never really had that like kind of timeline, like go out, think of a story, find your sources, get the video, edit it, and get it on the air in one day. But the more I've done it, like it's more doable now. It's almost second nature. Obviously, I'm still new. I'm not perfect at it. It's only been a couple months, but like it's
right. But you know what you're doing.
The growth from 3 months ago to now has already been huge.
So exactly, since you had a cold period, like of unemployment, like waiting for the job. So it's not like you jumped from editing an Adobe Premiere from your college days. So like, okay, now I'm gonna take a week off, then we go do this for real this time. No, it's like,
yeah.
Do they ease you in? Like, did you have to do a work week of 5 stories?
Yeah, so we had like a couple weeks of training and we kind of learned like the system, and then we like learned the cameras, and then we kind of crawled in a little bit, but there really is no proper way to train for it, just because it's so, I mean, there's people there to help, but it's so isolated, as in like, you're calling and getting the interviews, you're getting the footage and you're editing, like no one's setting anything up for you really.
Right. Yeah.
So even if they can train you and kind of walk you along the way, once you're doing your own story, you're on your own. So that first story or first week of doing your own stories is very kind of scary.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I was gonna ask, like, what was your first story? Was it something that was handed on a platter to you? Or was it like, okay, thank God I have not a slow news day? Or was it like, this is gonna be every day? I gotta call these random people and just try to manufacture something. How was that first day?
My very first story was actually the end of training, and it was kind of on a platter for me. It
Okay.
was the local police station. They were testing body cameras, and so like I already had like a police officer ready to speak and like the lieutenant ready to speak. So it was pretty simple. But that was like I think on the Friday of my last week of training. Like the
Okay.
following Monday or Tuesday, whatever, I started like officially reporting. I like came into the meeting like with no ideas, and then I was just told one, and I make all the calls my own. I'm pretty sure I got the story done at 3:55.
Okay.
No,
Oh.
it's a lot to learn, and I've been learning and growing so much, so that's why I think it was the right move because I've changed and grown a lot.
Oh, absolutely. I think it's always when you go somewhere else, you restart things. You kind of, it sounds like a sorority girl going to college. Like, yeah, you learn who you are. You change in that freshman year of college. You actually do. When you live by yourself, you live in the real world. You're self-sustaining. You have your own apartment, no roommates. At least I didn't have a roommate, and you just kind of learn how to. All right, so I work whatever hours you work, and now I come home. What do I do now? Like, like it's kind of one of those things where yeah, I'm an adult. I actually look forward to a Friday. It's kind of weird. It's kind of like, yeah, Mondays. Yeah, Mondays do suck. Like, I'm
Hey,
not gonna, you know what I
Mondays,
mean?
am I right?
Exactly. It's like, damn. And I also found that true. Didn't use Facebook from like 2012 to 3 months ago when I got the job. I'm hopping back in the Facebook game.
Oh my god,
Oh,
I use it. I have to
oh,
use it every day.
yeah. Oh
It's
my gosh. It is as much as toxicity you think any other social media is, Facebook, one, their video software is more addicting than YouTube. I fell in the trap of recreationally using Facebook. And
mm,
I watched the video and they know your algorithm like that. And I watch these stupid videos. Mr. Beast, freaking Mr. Beast.
yeah.
I'm turning to that guy. I watch Mr. Beast videos. Like, what is this? We gave 100 grand to a stranger this week and next week, and I had to manually mute these people that I
Oh my
actually
god.
watch the videos. Like there's this Eaton Berton, he just like makes these cooking videos on
Mhm.
Facebook. I don't like the videos, but I watch them all like when they pop up.
Because they're
But yeah,
so good at like just placing it right in front of you, knowing you're gonna watch it,
yes,
and then oh, you don't like that one? Here's the next one. How about this one?
exactly,
They're very
exactly.
good.
You circle back to the same account anyway. I swear I mute the accounts that I watch the videos because I don't like them, but I'll watch them.
Speaking of social media, I know you're
Yeah.
very active on Twitter, and I'm sure you saw today JJ Watt to the
Yeah.
Cardinals. Give me your first immediate reactions to that.
I was shocked. Like a lot of people, like a lot of the established Big J journalists, I was shocked. I thought he was going to go to a automatic winner. Go to no
People
one
were
would
thinking the
no
Bills. That's what.
yeah, no one would blame him for go to Green Bay or the Bills. You go back home or you go to a similar culture that you kind of grew up in. Even though I mean he's been in Houston for what I don't even know, like 8 years now, something like long time like that. But still, you went to school up north. You lived up north. Go back home to Green Bay or a similar culture like the Bills. No one would blame him for like ring chasing. No one really does blame you for ring chasing in the NFL anyway. I thought it makes sense if they could have offered him the next money. It's gonna feel weird. It almost was like Terrell Suggs went to the Cardinals for a little bit
Mm,
after he was at the Ravens. He kind of sizzled out. Hey, T sizzle. But like I haven't been hot on the JJ Watt train. I don't think he's gonna be worth what he's getting paid right now. Uh, and I think that those contracts that you get the big bucks at the end of your career make more sense when you are getting paid by the same team that you were that impact player, when you
mm.
were that MVP. When it's someone else, it's like the Cardinals are paying for the production that JJ Watt did with the Texans in his
For
heyday.
the production he had, not the production he still has.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's what I think is going to happen. I hope not. I think JJ's an all right guy. I make fun of his social media presence and the way he presents himself as trying to be a funny guy, even though deep down he's like a lunk. Like he's like he's a hardo. Like he is a you can't hide who you truly are. Like JJ Watt kind of wants to bleep Blake Griffin, but he's not as funny as Blake Griffin. That's what
No.
I think was happening. But
Interesting.
I don't think it's going to make much of an impact. I think the Cardinals have a lot of problems outside of pass rush. I think just their O line needs help. And like I think Kyler Murray, Kyler Murray didn't take as much of his. He looked like in the first like 4 or 5 weeks of the season, the Cardinals looked like they're going to be that team. They kind of looked like the Bills of last year, or I guess 2 years ago now. They looked like they were going to be that playoff team. They kind of should made the playoffs this year, but with like a bad O-line and a Kyler Murray who isn't good enough at this stage of his career to overcome a lackluster O-line, you kind of saw a lot of throws in, I think it was like the Seahawks game, where he just didn't play good football. There was a couple of throws that he just couldn't make, but he's obviously as young as you could be at his stage of the career. I think they are still a couple pieces away from that JJ Watt piece changing things. I don't think it's going to change anything right now.
I agree, and I think he's still productive. I don't think he's the impact player he was. So, he's not going to hurt the team in terms of pass rush. Maybe in terms of cap hit he will, but right, he's nothing that'll push them over the edge that will make them a solid contender.
Right, because they got to pay Kyler coming up. I don't know how many years. They're paying quarterbacks earlier and earlier nowadays.
Yeah, I think so. This is his third season coming up. So I think at the end of his third season. I'm not sure. It's
right.
Speaking of paying quarterbacks on the other side of the JJ Watt, tell me what you think about Deshaun Watson and his situation in Houston, because I feel bad for him. I want that man freed.
I'm a big realist, right? And there's two sides. You can be like, well, you signed a contract, getting paid a lot of money, getting paid a lot of money. But on the other end of the realist, it's like, well, quarterbacks have so much sway and so much say in where they are and what they do. You are getting paid this much because you have this much authority in some sense. You can swing that weight. Now, you can't swing weight like you can like in the NBA, where we see it just in this season, how James Harden can just do whatever he wants, really. Quarterback is the closest you can get to that in professional sports outside of the NBA. Feel bad for Deshaun Watson. I feel bad for him on the field. On the field, it's like, yes, he is clearly a top 6 quarterback in the NFL right now, and his prime years are right now. And he's hitting this fake free agency market at the best time we've ever seen a quarterback anywhere. Now, is he going to hit that fake free agency market? Nothing's happened yet. And that's kind of concerning. I think he's going to stay in Texas because
I don't think they plan on trading him.
No, I don't think, even with the front office moves, or I guess changes they've made, because they have a new head coach that Deshaun talked to the head coach, and he was like, all right, cool. The situation you're being put in right now is pretty tough. I still want to leave, though. And he told the public that. And they have a new GM, I'm pretty sure, too, because Bill O'Brien was their GM when he got fired. I think he's screwed. I think he's going to stay with Houston and just be mad. I think it's going to be like the situation where what we thought Kawhi Leonard with the Raptors was going to be. Remember his like press conferences and like in the offseason with Toronto, and he was just like mad. And then he ended up winning the finals. And that was kind of brushed under the rug, how everyone made fun of Kawhi, all that kind of stuff. But I think he's going to be begrudgingly with Houston. If nothing's happened yet, and you already saw what's his name? Go to the Colts. I don't know why I'm blanking on his name. A quarterback move already. We had Jared Goff move already. Wentz already went. You would have thought the bigger name quarterback would have fight for him, fight for Deshaun, and then the dominoes fall. Where it's like, okay, we know Wentz is worth this much, so we'll adjust accordingly. But it hasn't yet. So I think Deshaun's screwed. I think he's stuck in Houston.
Yeah, I think he's screwed too. And about your like kind of realist point where he did sign a contract, I agree with that. There's two ends to that contract as well, and the Texans also committed to him to give the best team around him to give him a chance to win, and they haven't done that. So that's why I understand. He's held up his end of the bargain. He's played his heart out. He's played his contract out for however many years. They haven't really fulfilled on the other end. So him wanting out, I think, is reasonable. Is he going to?
And like sometimes you can say as an organization, well, we're not winning, but we're trying to. Like, Deshaun, do you think we want to have a 6-win season? Deshaun, do you think we want to have a 5-win season? No, of course we're trying to make moves that put you in the right spot. But that DeAndre Hopkins trade is just such a dagger. You take away the man's biggest weapon and a league-wide known top 2 receiver in the NFL. You get back garbage. And you're going to try to
a
rationalize that to your
mediocre running
quarterback?
back and a pick.
Yeah.
Like it's no, it makes no sense. Yeah, I think he's screwed, but you never really know with these trade things. So there's always a lot of strategy within strategy. Maybe they're saying they keep doing that. We're not going to trade him, so they get better offers, through the back door. I don't know. I hope he gets traded, but if I were to guess, I think you're right that he's screwed.
Where do you want him to go? For Deshaun and for the organization where it makes sense both. Because I have a lot of friends in the Jets universe, and they swear to me, oh, he loves Saleh. He wants to go to the Jets. He wants to go to the big market. I see no idea. I don't see the Jets being in much of a better position that the Texans are. Even though you get a good coach, even though that's pretty sweet, that's still like a 2-year, 3-year. The Jets are so far away. That's still wasting 3 more years, maybe 2 years at the least, years of his career. I don't see it with the Jets. They keep on swearing that Deshaun Watson likes Robert Saleh. They like that system. He can build the defense. The Jets have an okay defense right now in the position they are. They have like picks, but I don't see the Jets. I like Chicago. I think it'd be pretty cool.
Chicago would work out. I don't like the Jets either. I don't think they're like a half step more functional than in Houston, but like not by a lot.
Yeah.
I hate to say it because I know you don't like any of these teams either. I wouldn't hate him on the Patriots.
The Patriots?
Because he deserves a good program and a good franchise. And Cam Newton didn't really work out this season. He only had a 1-year deal, right? He's not coming back.
Yeah, it was funny. He has a 1-year deal. And after that Seahawks primetime game, we're like, well, he's getting re-signed. Like, I love Colin Cowherd. And he was like, well, he's getting re-signed. He was like, opened his show laughing after that Sunday Night Football game. I was like, well, that kind of turned out bad. He's not getting re-signed anymore. And Cam Newton's going in the media saying, I know there's 32 guys not better than me. And it's like, okay, you're probably right. But I don't think the Patriots want him back if they could get Deshaun. But if they can't get Deshaun, I think they will take him back just because out of default. Because there won't be 32 guys that are better than Cam in that spot. Patriots would make sense in my like media mind. That'd be pretty cool. It'd be a whole lot more interesting for him to go there than to Chicago and then to New York. I'd like to see it.
I think it's a move, and I don't like I don't like the Boston sports, I don't like the Patriots, but it would be good for football. It'd be good for the Patriots. It'd be good for Watson. Will it happen? Probably not, but I'd like to see it.
Yeah, I mean, it would be interesting. It would be interesting because then you could be like, well, now Belichick's got a quarterback again. Now, I mean, going from Brady to Cam, and there was a lot of those opt-outs. Now New England has their real roster back, and they have a great quarterback. Was it really 50% Brady Belichick, or was Brady actually a ton? I mean, right now we obviously is getting all of the comeuppance. He's getting all the credit that he thinks and that he should have, in hindsight, gotten before, which I wasn't giving him. I was more of a 60-40 Belichick, more of the reason for Brady. And how could you not? I mean, Brady isn't the biggest athlete. He has a good arm, not a Mahomes arm. It's hard not to think Belichick was a lot, if not most of the reason. But after the season, we see, okay, Brady really was. But now the playing fields are even. Brady walked into the perfect situation. Belichick walked into a suboptimal situation with a lot of players gone and not a quarterback he really wanted.
I mean, there's a lot of factors below the surface causing both their seasons, but above the surface, it kind of ended or tipped the debate in. It was more Tom Brady than it was Belichick. But given a full season with full strength, and if they get a quarterback like Watson, that'll kind of give Belichick that chance at redemption, in the public eye. Not that he cares about that, but in the public eye of who was really the reason for the success or how much percentage it should go to.
Absolutely, yeah.
Real quick, I want to switch it up one more time and talk baseball, because baseball is back. And I know you're a huge baseball fan. How excited are you for spring training?
I am super excited, and I can't dive in yet personally because I told you I was in basketball playoff mode. So I've just been following on social media. Haven't been able to actually watch a broadcast of spring training game yet, but it just feels good. The local high school team had the first game today. The weather warms up here quicker than I'm used to, and we had like a 60-degree high here today. It's more of that. It's more of everything that the beginning of baseball means that
Right.
I wore short sleeves the other day.
The
But
culmination of just spring coming and spring training, and the season's right around the
yeah,
corner.
oh yeah, you feel it in the air,
Mm-hmm.
and that first spring day where you can wear a very light jacket to a ball game, be comfortable. Oh, I'm so excited for baseball, and I've been a long holder of this take. I said it a year ago, I said it 6 months ago, and I said it 3 months ago. Last season didn't count. I don't count the title. I don't count the season. The heartbreak sucks as a fan because you're watching these games for a reason, but I don't count. What was it, 62 games or 65? I forget. It was
Something like
60.
that.
I don't count that. That didn't count. That doesn't count. Baseball is a sport built on consistency and a massive sample size. It's how it's been done for so many years. So all the more reason for me to be really excited for this baseball season, to have a full 162 game season. Fans are going to be pretty much in most, probably 80% of stadiums. I'm super stoked for a West Coast term out you in the West Coast time zone. I'm stoked for baseball season.
I'm really excited. So I'm in the same, but I haven't really kind of dug in yet. I've just been seeing little videos and clips of everything on social media, and it's just getting me real excited. I think once the season starts officially, I'll probably be able to turn my attention more. Hopefully, I mean, it's both got busy schedules. Are you comfortable making a way too early World Series prediction?
All right, so I'm in this dilemma where I'm a Yankees fan. All right, so I have reason to believe
I'm as well.
that, yes. So we have reason to believe our team should be there, right? Everything points in our mind except for what's happened the past 3 years, except for them continuously letting Yankees fans down. But you see that lineup on paper every single spring, every single opening day. The injuries haven't happened yet, right?
They're going to.
Happened. Exactly.
They're going to.
They're going to. It's not if, but it's when. Because like at this exact same time last year, it was like pre Luis Severino injury. It was like pre. I think it was a Judge injury in the preseason. I don't think he was ready for opening day. I might be wrong on that. Oh, you know what? It was the delayed season, so he actually was ready for opening day. Way too early World Series prediction.
Here, before you give it, I'm going to ask you to throw your sunglasses on.
Absolutely.
As you give your prediction, because people are more trustworthy when they got glasses on. So I want people to know that what you're saying is legit.
I look like a badass. I look like you do not want to date me. If you're his father, you don't want your daughter to date this guy right here. He rolls up in a leather jacket
on the motorcycle.
Yeah, exactly. Shaking your Tupperware and like it's shaking up the drawers and like, oh, is that?
Well, I want you to look that father right in the eyes and tell him who's going to be in the World Series this year.
It's going to be the Braves versus the Yankees. I'm sorry, I can't pick against the Yankees. It's the Braves versus the Yankees. It's so hard to go back to back. I know the Dodgers they got Trevor Bauer. I don't think Trevor Bauer is that good. I think he is a grifter. I think he's selling that microcosm of a season, blowing out of proportion. He had a good season. I think he's a great marketer. He's a grifter, trying to sell those numbers as his numbers when he's a career, a shade under 4 ERA. I don't think that acquisition makes much for the Dodgers. I think that they got their Mickey Mouse World Series, and I think it's going to be Braves versus the Yankees. Braves have been burned a couple times in the playoffs. 2 years ago, they had that really tough first inning against the St. Louis Cardinals. I think this is I know that that division's really tough, and I'll give Philadelphia fans credit. I really like rubbing salt in the wounds. I really don't like Philadelphia fans whatsoever at all.
That hurts.
No matter what, I think they're going to be pretty good.
It's tough division though. They've got their work cut out for them this year.
I think, and I'm also the same way with Mets fans because they are annoying little brother fans. Oh my gosh, I don't like the Mets fans more than I should. There should be a bigger gap between the Red Sox and the Mets than there really is for me. But I do think they're gonna be good. I think Lindor is a big matchup. I picked the Mets to win the division last season.
Wow.
So I think it'll be a tough road. I don't think it's a slam dunk that the Braves actually win the division, but I do think that Soroka will come back later in the season. I think he hurt his Achilles on the mound in the middle of last season. I think the Braves are going to put it all together, have a very fun run to the title, to the World Series. Yankees, Braves. Am I going to pick the Yankees? Am I going to pick the Yankees? Yeah, you bet your ass. I'm going to pick the Yankees. Yankees World Series champions. It's going to happen. The Yankees didn't win it last year because it was a fake season. They're going to win it this year because it's a real one. And there's going to be fans in the bleachers by October. I think they're going to have – it's going to be tough for New York City. I think they're going to have like 70% capacity. It'll happen. New York Yankees, chase for 28. They're going to recapture glory.
You heard it here first. Christian Katt. You can trust him because he's got glasses on. Yankees over the Braves in a fan-filled, in some capacity, stadium. Christian Katt. Catman, it's been great talking to you. Great catching up. I love talking sports and just seeing how you're doing. I appreciate you for coming on.
No problem. I'll see you at our graduation, maybe in 4 years. That'd be pretty sweet, right?
That's never happening.
Yeah. Thank you for the. I know, because they're not going to have I don't think they're having an in-person graduation this year either. So it's going to stack up where we're going to get a note in the mail and be like, well, congrats. All right,
sweet, see, I think Barron retired just so he doesn't have to give us a graduation. He's like, maybe they'll forget about that if I just leave.
Honestly, not a bad idea. If you're like thinking about it, it's like, that's the time to do it. It's like coming up on March Madness. If there's a time to quit your job, it's March Madness. And like, if there's a time to quit your job, it's so you don't have to make that decision.
Yeah.
All the power to them. Thank you for the invite, Noah.
Okay, that was Christian Katt. A bit of a long episode, but a good one. I'm happy you stuck around. If you did, I'm sure it was worth it. And I just need to take a moment to address the elephant in the room for those of you watching. You might be wondering, Noah, this is a Philly sports themed podcast, more or less. You're a Philly sports fan. What is that you're wearing? If you're listening, I'm wearing a Yankees t-shirt. What's the deal with that? Okay, let me explain. I am a Yankees fan. I'm a Philly sports fan. I grew up in the Philadelphia area, 4 for 4, Eagles, Sixers, Phillies, Flyers. That's what I grew up around. Also, my pop-up, my grandfather, my dad's dad, Bobby Robert Chast, the man, the myth, the legend, he grew up in the Bronx, New York. He was born in 1929, lived in New York in the 30s. He kind of was there for the pinnacle of baseball. He met Babe Ruth on the sidewalk. He was in the stadium for Lou Gehrig Day. He used to go buy tickets for baseball games for 3 cents or whatever. He's as legit a Yankees fan as it gets. And when I was being raised, he used to babysit me, and I would grow up watching the core four at his house: Derek Jeter, Andy Pettitte, Mariano Rivera, Jorge Posada, that whole gang. So he, as I was growing up, and I always loved sports, he kind of taught me to be a Yankees fan. And up until 2009, there was no beef with the Phillies and Yankees. So it was very simple. I was a fan of both teams. And to explain or express how deep and how true of a Yankees fan he was, I will tell you a story about my pop-up that he wrote for me. He's got a ton of stories. Right now I'm just going to read this one. I might read more later. And it's about how he met the Babe Ruth. This is my pop-up, Robert Chast. Well, I was about 6 years old, and my dad and I were on one of our long Sunday walks. We had covered the 2.5 miles from our house, and we were walking along the street opposite the Yankee Stadium's players' entrance when the long black Packard pulled up the curb. My dad had just been telling me about the fact that the stadium had been built right across the Harlem River from the Giants' polo grounds on purpose. You see, he told me the Yankees had been leasing the field from the Giants to play in while the Giants were playing away games. But the Yankees began outdrawing and outselling the Giants on their own field. And the Giants manager, John McGraw, could not stand it. He canceled the Yankees lease and bought up all the possible ballparks in Manhattan. On their turn, the owners of the Yankees, the two colonels, Jacob Ruppert, and this is a fun name, Tillinghast Lahamadou Huston, bought land in the Bronx and in 1923 opened up a modern steel and concrete stadium modeled on the Coliseum in Rome, thus building Yankee Stadium. But to get back to that Packard, the door opened and out stepped a heavily built man wearing a camel's hair overcoat with a matching cap. He was headed for the Yankees players' entrance. In a low voice, my father said to me, that man was the Babe. Bobby, why don't you go across the street and say hello? So I did. Hello, Babe, I chirped. Hello, kid, he answered back. And that's how I met Babe Ruth. So, if that doesn't provide enough evidence as to my pop-ups, Yankee fandom, and as to why that has been passed on to me, I don't know what will, but trust me, I'm a fan of all of the teams,
in Philly and the Yankees. It's doable. It's possible. I don't know what else to tell you. That's just the way it is. I don't know. Thanks for watching. I don't know.